What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the DubsIn4 podcast. This is episode 8. Today is September 9th, 2018, and we're continuing with our division overview series. This week we're going to be talking about the last division in the Western Conference, which is the Southwest Division. That division includes the Mavericks, Pelicans, Grizzlies, Rockets, and Spurs. And I'm just going to be going over, similar to the last 2 weeks, off-season moves, what they've done, and what I think the order of teams is going to be, and just give a little bit of an overview for each of them for next year. So, yep, we're still in the middle of the summer. I guess I'll just touch on one thing that did happen today, though. Rodney Hood accepted his qualifying offer to return to Cleveland. That's the biggest NBA news we had this week. It's the biggest news we've had in a while. Hood was the best free agent left on the board. Really the only free agent left would be Dwayne Wade now, and it's either Miami or retirement for him. So we'll see. But yeah, Rodney Hood going back to Cleveland. He'll be an unrestricted free agent next summer. We'll see how well he plays this year and if he's going to be able to get himself a better deal next summer. The qualifying offer was only like $3.4 million, I think. So yeah, he's definitely going to want a bigger deal than that. So next summer he'll be unrestricted and be able to look for a little bit more money if he plays well on a bad Cleveland team this year. So that was that. And now we're just going to move into the overviews. So the best team in this division, I think there's no debate here, it's Houston. The Rockets are the best team in this division. They were really good last year, almost beat the Warriors. They were the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. Chris Paul, James Harden, Clint Capella. They have now added Carmelo Anthony, and I don't think that will make them better. I think that will make them worse, especially if he, acts the way he did on OKC last year, but could be all right. They lost Trevor Ariza, Luka Baamute, and they replaced them with Carmelo Anthony. So that was pretty much their offseason. They also signed James Ennis, I believe, and they did just get rid of Ryan Anderson. Actually, they got rid of Anderson and DeAnthony Melton, the rookie, for Marquise Chris and Brandon Knight. So the team will look a little bit different coming into next year. None of the major pieces changed. Instead of starting Ariza at small forward, they'll be starting Carmelo. Other than that, the bench, their end of rotation guys will be different. They'll have James Ennis now. They'll be able to use Brandon Knight, Marquise Chris a little bit, but I doubt either of them will see much playing time. So this team is pretty much the same as it was last year, except the small forward is different. But hopefully they'll be able to, have a way to use Carmelo to his strengths. Mike D'Antoni will be able to get him to buy in and, not take every single shot and act like he's still a superstar when he's 34 years old on a minimum deal, trying to win a ring. So, I mean, who knows what's going to happen there. But if they can get Melo to kind of just be a spot-up shooter and not take away too much from what Chris Paul and James Harden are trying to do, that would be nice for them. But other than that, pretty similar team to last year. They're the best team in this division. There's really no debate about that. Next, I have the Spurs at number 2. I have them making the playoffs, I believe, is my 7 seed. It could be 6. I forgot where I had them. But, yeah, they are going to be a different team this year because instead of Kawhi Leonard, they have DeMar DeRozan. Of course, Kawhi didn't play last season. He played 9 games, but not much because of his injury. And who knows if that was even a thing. He sat out a lot of games. That's neither here nor there, whether he was actually injured or not. But the point is, instead of not having a superstar, they now have DeMar DeRozan, who is, an all-star caliber player, very good player. So, and I think he plays well to, Greg Popovich's coaching style. And then they also got Jakob Poeltl, a nice piece for their bench, in exchange for Danny Green. So, and Manu Ginobili retired, but at age 40, 41, he wasn't really contributing too much to them anyway. So, as much of a legend as Ginobili is, at this point in his career, he wasn't contributing much to the Spurs' success. So, I have them as the second best team here. They're going to be a new look for sure. I'll have to see. I think they're going to be good, though, just because Popovich is an amazing coach, and DeRozan is a good fit for their system. He's a good mid-range shooter. He'll be good for them. And Poeltl, good piece for their bench as well. So we'll see. But they're a very different team. I think they're going to be good, though. I have the Spurs at number 2. And then at 3, I have the Pelicans here. Those two, I think a lot of people want to, flip flop between the Spurs and the Pelicans. I think it's pretty easy for me to put the Spurs above them. I have the Pelicans down here because they lost Boogie Cousins. Obviously, they have Julius Randle now, and Nikola Mirotic and Anthony Davis is their trio of big men there. Still don't know what they're going to do. Who are they going to have coming off the bench between Randall and Mirotic? Because I don't think they're going to want to start one of them at small forward. That's just too much. Neither of those players, their best position is small forward. They're both natural power forwards. So I think they'll probably have Randall come off the bench, but I wouldn't be surprised if they switch it based on matchups and based on the night. But yeah, there's that. They also added Elfrid Payton, he's okay. But realistically, this team isn't that good without another superstar, and they've just kind of gone back to what they were a couple years ago, which is Anthony Davis and a bunch of B tier, like B minus C plus guys. So Anthony Davis is really good, don't get me wrong, but this is part of the reason I didn't have him as like an MVP candidate this year, is because he's not going to have team success, right? The Pelicans are good and Anthony Davis is good, but they're not good enough to make the playoffs in the Western Conference. I have them sitting outside. I have them at my 9th seed, and I just don't see them getting in realistically. They're the third best team in this division. I think this is pretty clear cut for me. Like, they're going to be right outside of the playoffs. I don't see them making it in. They could. It wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility for them to make the playoffs. But with just Anthony Davis and then 2 guys in their front court with Mirotic and Randall. And Elfrid Payton's like an okay, he's about league average, maybe a little below league average starting point guard. Like who else do they have really? So I don't know. I just don't really have the Pelicans having much success this year, just because it's the Anthony Davis show, and that's kind of what it was a couple of years ago, and that might get them the 8th seed and swept in the first round, or just sitting outside the playoffs. But that's that. And then these last 2 teams, between the Mavericks and the Grizzlies, this was a really hard one to pick for me, because the Mavericks are a young, intriguing team. They have young pieces. They're going to look a lot different next year. We'll see what they're trying to do. But and then the Grizzlies, now having Mike Conley back healthy, Marc Gasol back healthy, they're an older team, but they have all their pieces ready. And healthy again, and they had a top lottery pick and added Jaren Jackson Jr. The Mavericks added Doncic as well, so it was just tough for me to pick, but I ended up going with the Mavericks at 4. I think the Mavericks are a little bit better than the Grizzlies right now. I could easily be wrong about that. But I think Doncic is one of the most NBA-ready prospects we've had in a long time. His skill set will translate over really well because of the fact that he was EuroLeague MVP. He's already been playing at the professional level for a couple of years now, and he's just 19 years old. So 19, 18, I don't know. He's either 18 or 19, really young, and really, really good. But Doncic will be really well. He'll help out Dennis Smith Jr. a lot. They also added DeAndre Jordan in free agency. He'll be a really nice presence under the rim for them, finishing lobs from Dennis Smith and Luka Doncic. Harrison Barnes as well, nice scorer on the wing. So this team will actually be good, and Mark Cuban said that they're going to try to win this year. They wanted to tank last season, get that high draft pick, and then this year they're going to try to win. So that's what they're going to do. It's going to be tough for them to win games in the Western Conference just because there are a lot of good teams, as I've said many times. So Mavericks will have a tough time trying to win games, but I think they're going to be better than the Grizzlies this year because the Grizzlies are getting old. We don't know how much injuries will have affected their good players. And I guess I'm just going to move in. At 5, I have Memphis. They lost Tyreke Evans this offseason, which isn't that big of a deal, but he was the best player on the team last year after, if you take out like Gasol and Conley's injuries, then Tyreke Evans, played most of the season, was healthy, and played well. So he's no longer there. They drafted Jaren Jackson Jr., who looked really, really good in Summer League. I actually got to see him play live. I was able to go to the Jazz Summer League and watch a couple Jaren Jackson Jr. games. That was really cool. And he played really well. He hit that half-court buzzer beater. I saw that happen. to end the first half, and I believe it was the first game of the summer league actually in Utah. So that was cool. But yeah, so they have him now. And again, like I mentioned, they have Mike Conley. He was hurt all of last year. And he's getting up there in age. He's like 32, 33, something like that. So we're not really sure how good he is anymore. We haven't seen him play in a year. How healthy is he? Not really sure on that. And same with Marc Gasol. He's getting up there in age as well, like 34, 35. Missed a lot of games last season, so it's just tough to say on this Grizzlies team. It looks like their window. Well, obviously their window has closed because their players are just getting up there, and they lost a lot of their grit and grind guys. But they do have Jaren Jackson Jr., a high lottery pick. Hopefully he'll be good for them for years to come. But I think the best course of action for this team now is to try to trade away Gasol to a contender, near the deadline. Trade away Gasol and Conley if you can, but his contract might be too big to move. But try to trade away Marc Gasol, get what you can for him, and just try to get another high draft pick next year. Because I don't really see a reason for them to try to win games this season just because the West is too good. They're not going to make the playoffs, and at this point, it's kind of over for them. So if I were them, I would trade Gasol before the deadline. I don't know if they will, just because he means a lot to that team. He's been there for a while, he's kind of been their franchise guy for the last couple of years now. But we'll see if they end up trading him away. I doubt they'll find somebody who wants to take Conley's contract. He's a good player, but he's not worth like $35 million a year or whatever they're paying him, something ridiculous. He's not worth that kind of money, and I believe he still has 2 years left on his deal, so no team is really going to want to take that. But so yeah, that's just my overview for the Southwest Division. I have the Rockets at 1, Spurs at 2, Pelicans at 3, Mavericks at 4, Grizzlies at 5. You could theoretically flip the Grizzlies and Mavericks, but after thinking about it for a little bit, I think that the Mavericks are for sure better because the Grizzlies are going to have an incentive to lose this year, and the Mavericks have said that they're going to be trying to win. So that's what I have. Thanks everyone for tuning in. This has been episode 8. I will see you guys next week. We're going to be moving into the Eastern Conference. I'm not sure which one I'm going to talk about yet, but yeah, we'll figure that out. Anyway, yeah, this has been going well. We've gone 8 weeks. That's like 2 months of me talking about basketball every week, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.